Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be kind of my advice to people just getting started in luxury now in 2024 and beyond. So if you're new here, my name is Catherine and I worked in the luxury pre-loved industry for 10 entire years. Here on my channel, I give tips, insights, and perspectives coming from an industry professional, where I talk about stuff like styles, care tips, authentication, and just different other things that I think that would be useful for you guys out in the public to know. So if that is interesting to you, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a thumbs up. That really helps out our channels a lot and gives us like kind of insights into what you guys are enjoying here out on YouTube. So we're gonna get started today with my advice. These are things that you should do before you start your collection or before you buy your first bag. So this video isn't going to be specific bags to buy necessarily. This is more advice that I would give before you get started. So even if you have started your luxury journey already, this is definitely still advice that could be useful to you as well. I've done that video before a couple years back, and I mean, honestly, I stand by most of what I said back then. Maybe a couple of the bags might be different or discontinued or something like that, but I think that the advice generally still stands. If you'd like to see like a little bit of like an update or a refresh on that, let me know in the comments down below, but do check out the video I did from a couple years ago. So the first thing that you want to do in starting your luxury journey is assess what your needs are. I've been using the word introspection a lot lately here on my channel, but I do think that is a very useful thing to do, especially when we are forking over these amounts of money. What is this bag going to be used for? Is it just as a commemoration of some sort of achievement? Is it actually going to be used in your daily life? Is it for a special type of event or something of that nature? Decide what it's going to be for, and that way you'll get a better sense of specifically and particularly why you're buying it. So often, when people buy handbags, especially when they're just getting started, there isn't really a lot of thought and purpose behind the purchases that they make, and over time that can compound into a lot of wasted money. So if you want to get out ahead of that, starting off from a purposeful place in making a purchase. The next thing I want you to do is take stock of the current bags in your wardrobe. Now, the reason I want you to do this is just to get a feel for what you like and what you don't like. Now, I can say for myself, before I actually got into buying designer bags, I didn't really have much of a care about purses generally. And what I realized is that the bags that I was carrying before they were designer, before they were nice, and before I was putting effort into them, once I actually started to think about it, was that I didn't really particularly like them that much. So that's not to say that what you should buy as your first couple of bags should just be replacements of bags that you already have, but just to get a sense of what you like and what you don't like, I think is important. Now what I recommend is making a list of some of your daily activities and kind of getting a sense of your current wardrobe and current lifestyle. What I recommend doing to start is kind of getting like a color palette for your wardrobe. It doesn't have to be exact, but I would just kind of go into your closet or wherever you keep your clothes and just take a picture and just kind of get a sense of like what type of colors you see in the picture. Whenever you dress up in cute outfits, take a mirror selfie. If you want to, you can post it on Instagram. That's not required. I guess that's bonus extra credit. Have maybe 5 to 10 regular outfits that you wear on a day-to-day basis. Keep those in an album on your phone and just kind of envision whatever bag you have your mind set on, if that works with what you wear on a typical day. Because the thing that I do want to caution in this moment is not to get anything that's too dressy. A couple of years ago I do kind of still adhere to the thought that an everyday bag as a first bag isn't necessarily my top choice and top pick. I would go for something a little bit more dressy, a little bit more special, but you don't want to get too out there, too crazy, especially not for your first. Now this one is something that I'm specifically saying to myself in the past, and that is having a better handle on finances. It kind of goes without saying that when you are, contemplating making a luxury purchase, that you do want to make sure that you are living comfortably and have budgeted resources set aside, you have savings, you just kind of have your together financially. And listen, I did. Things were fine. I was doing fine. I was doing okay. But there are just a couple of things that I would have done differently. Specifically, what I wish that I would have done is open yourself up a weekly auto-drafted savings account. Whatever number you like every week. Preferably something that collects interest. This is, again, not financial advice. The purpose of this is not for saving for whatever bag you have on your wish list. This is just to create a really good habit of just paying yourself first. And that is advice that I think I ignored when I got started in this 10 years ago when I was 23. I don't have a sponsor for this video. I kind of wish that I would have because there are a couple of great companies that I do use. If I can maybe find a referral code or something like that, I'll leave that link down below. But just, I really wish that that's something that I would have gotten started with. Now, that number doesn't have to be anything crazy, but to just set aside like 20 bucks every week, an amount that you're not going to miss. Over the course at the end of the year, you have math. It's on screen. And if you really are dying to, you can put that towards your luxury purchase, but that really isn't the purpose of this. And now, on the subject of budgeting, like I assume, watching this, are grown up and you are responsible for the choices that you make in your wardrobe and in your life. So it is your decision as to whether or not you partake in luxury or in this level of consumption, and I respect anyone's choice to do so, but just be aware that that there may be consequences that befall you if if you make choices that are less than responsible. In my experience working in the industry, a lot of the time when people were making their first purchase, it was like after getting some sort of bonus or some sort of windfall, and I think that it's totally fine and it's totally your choice. Decide to make a purchase off of that, but just remember that when you do start this, when you do like first swipe the credit card or hit the PayPal or whatever, make sure that you're not going to be eating ramen for the next month. You know what I mean? It's really important to remember that just because something is mathematically possible for you and your bank account doesn't mean it necessarily has to happen. Now, whenever I've had to work with very, very young clients, what I have seen all the time is that they, after making a large purchase, maybe a couple of months later, will look to the resale market to kind of recoup the money very quickly. Judgment-free zone, people, is very normal. This is what happens to people over time, and this is, I guess, a part of that learning process. So you're not going to get any shade from me for making some questionable financial choices. But what I do caution you to remember is that when you look to the resale market to sell your items, it is very, very rare that whatever payout you're going to look to is going to be like a same day transaction. Now, I'm sure that there are some outlets for that, but generally speaking, like it may take at least a couple of days, sometimes weeks or months, for you to actually see the money once the item is sold. So just be aware of that. Like, the resale market is great, I've pervaded it for over 10 years, but it is not going to be the thing that, like, the quick cash grab that you may necessarily need in dire situations. And the only reason I say that is because I've had to explain this to people in my work life. And of course, with resale, just like with cars, when you resell something, you're typically not getting 100% of the money back. If you're new to my channel, one of my mantras here is that handbags are not reliable financial investments, not an immediate payout, and it's going to be less money than you think. You have my blessing to make any purchase you want to make, but do it responsibly. Luxury items are for our enjoyment, they are frivolous, and you should not look to them for financial upside. That's not what they're for. Now, the thing to remember that when you're getting started, you may have your heart absolutely set on a bag, especially if this is like the beginning of you loving something. One thing that I'm very lucky that I can always remember is that if you miss out on this one thing, it's not the end of the world. Every season, there's gonna be a new bag like that. You're gonna feel that feeling again. You're going to need and want, love something else down the pipeline. Throw the FOMO away. There are other bags out there. You might even find this bag out in the world for a lower price years or months in the future. Designers make new items every season, And when I say every season, lately, that kind of correlates to every couple of weeks. I would say keep something on your wish list for a couple of months before you actually pull the trigger on it. And that's something that you should be, that I really recommend being in the practice of doing. So now really quickly, I think it's important to make a conscious decision of whether or not you want to shop new at the boutiques, or maybe consider the resale market. Now, personally, maybe I'm biased, I prefer the resale market for a number of reasons. Really quickly, what I will say is that I find that the prices and the selection, as well as the quality, are a lot better when you look to collections from the past. So those are 3 really quick reasons, but if you want more information about that, I'll leave my video from a couple years ago linked down below. However, one thing that I do absolutely want you to take under consideration is that, like, you want to make sure that you're getting the real deal. And if you are just getting started in this industry, completely unsponsored, my true honest opinion on this is shopping pre-loved through a place like Fashionphile. They, in my opinion, have the best among the larger resale sites as far as authentication goes. There's a great selection there. The prices do tend to be a bit higher, but that's to be expected when you are getting that level of care and attention. So definitely something to take into account. That said, I think places like eBay are a lot better than they have been in the past. I think that I started shopping on eBay in like 2007. And it is I feel like it's an entirely different website from then, but there are a lot more safeguards on resale sites than there used to be. That said, places that I would avoid if you are just getting started, I would maybe say wait out on places like Poshmark and possibly even Vestiaire. That's another whole video. If you want more info on that, I'm not going to get into detail here, but that's my advice. So if you do decide that you prefer shopping at the retail boutiques, then just know that these days, it is difficult to really find something that is actually a bag, first of all. But you're going to be looking at probably spending in the neighborhood of $3,000 and more. Typically, what I recommend with like first starter purchases and people who are just getting into this, like, don't necessarily go for like such high tier price-wise, because you may find out, or you may realize over the course of this, that this doesn't really work for you, and that would suck. I don't know. So I think it is better in certain instances to maybe dip your toe in at like possibly a lower price. So this first bag does not have to be your be all end all. You are allowed to have more than one bag in your life. And crucially, it is not going to solve all of your problems. And now you want something that's going to be practical. You want something that you're going to be able to use with ease. And as tempted as you may be, you don't have to wear it every single day. The only reason I bring that up is because a lot of times with people's first bags, they absolutely trash them. So not everything has to be a crossbody. Like, certain bags are not designed as crossbodies, and like that's just what and who they are. You know, I think if you're looking for something that does have that as an option, then I would recommend just finding something that has that specification, as opposed to like jerry-rigging it the way people out there on the resale market do. So there are options out there, but I wouldn't recommend them necessarily. Now, this is advice for anyone, whether you're new to luxury or not. Look for outfit inspiration on social media, on places like Instagram. Knock yourself out. Follow bloggers, sure. What I caution is to not follow bloggers and content creators for lifestyle content. Obviously, I'm not against content creation. For me, places like Instagram, the value proposition has always just been take in the outfit and move on. You don't need to like get into the details about people's lives and people's, I don't know, relationships and their kids and their home renovations and all that. Like, I would just kind of just not take in that kind of stuff and just focus specifically on the outfit or the bag. Does this color of this outfit fit alongside this type of color palette? Does this person share a body type or style with you? I think all of that is valid, but as far as like, I just don't really find it too interesting to watch like what bag someone takes on their private jet to Dubai. That's just not my thing. But my specific advice is to just take in the content from like a self-centered perspective. Is the item they're featuring going to work for you? Does it suit your taste? Does it suit your lifestyle? Now, of course, you're gonna remember that whatever lifestyle that you see on social media, that it is what this person has decided to share. who knows if that is a true representation of reality. You can kind of assume that it isn't, not even in a nefarious or like, you know, shady type of way. But just know that a lot of the time when like bloggers, for example, go and do like, you know, shoots for like outfit shoots for their social media or for their blogs, that isn't necessarily the outfit that they chose to wear for that day. That is typically speaking, the bag in the photo is for the outfit, and the bag they're actually carrying is a big, huge, giant bag with all the rest of the outfits for the day. So think of it kind of the way we used to think about like modeling and photo shoots. Side note, my other job for the past decade plus has also been modeling, so I have a little bit, so I have definitely insight into that whole world as well. But that's not what this video is about. Also, don't forget, sometimes content creators share things that are sponsored, which is fine, you know, as long as it's disclosed and it's honest. And to be honest, it doesn't even have to fall in line with that creator's like specific aesthetic or lifestyle, or they may not even like it. What I recommend focusing on is whether or not you like it, whether or not it suits you and your tastes, your lifestyle, and if it's something that would accentuate or enhance the life that you have. When you're consuming content, make yourself be the primary factor in the consumption of the content. Yeah, influencers should be used for inspiration, outfit inspiration, to be specific, and nothing else. Don't try to copy their style, don't try to copy their wardrobe, don't like get into whether or not they're being genuine when they say that they actually like a bag or not. Just what I recommend is just focusing on whether or not the bag, the item, the cookware, whatever would suit you. Now my next tip is to not rush into the newest thing with the most hype. And I'm even gonna go a step further into not going for the thing that is being marketed. Yeah, with luxury brands, they market what they want to be selling for that season. If there's a new release, if there's something that they're trying to push, remember that that is the thing that they want to be selling. And that has nothing to do with you and your needs and your budget and your lifestyle. So once again, we're keeping you centered. You are the one that's buying it. The purchase has to be about you. So ignore the marketing campaigns, ignore the bloggers to an extent, unless you're using them specifically for outfit inspiration. If you see something in your feed and Instagram too many times, like I would honestly say to not buy that until the hype dies down. The Givenchy Mini Antigona was a hugely popular bag like 10 years ago. I didn't even actually get into liking that bag until like 3 or 4 years later, and I didn't actually make a purchase until a year after that. That is a bag that I absolutely love to death, and it actually has had longevity in my collection. It's a bag that I still wear, and in spite of it being completely hyped for a time, it ended up being something that does highly resonate with me and my own taste and my own style. So if you like it, if it's part of the marketing campaign, buy it next year. Buy it 6 months from now. Don't buy it right now. And now for another very important tip that I need you to remember. After you do finally make your purchase, first of all, congrats, but don't go and rush out and buy another one. Savor the purchase. You just added something to your wardrobe for the first time. What's the saying? Like, broke the seal on, you know, something that's probably very expensive, that's probably not at a price point that you're used to spending. Like, give yourself a minute, let it simmer, like savor it, enjoy it, wear it out for a couple of months before you go back and buy another bag. I can speak from experience, my own, as well as, you know, looking on other people professionally, that once you make that first really large purchase, the one that like makes your throat tighten up inside of your neck as you're swiping your credit card, once you've done that, like now it becomes easier and easier to continue to do that. This was the first bag that I bought. This is the Louis Vuitton Belmont. I bought this in 2015. It was my first like actual purchase for myself. Hold on, I ended up like 2 weeks later buying another bag. And while I don't regret that at all, I thought for sure I would never spend $1,000 on a purse. And then in my first go round, I did it twice in a month. Like, you don't want to wake up a year from now swimming in $20,000 worth of handbags. Like, what was I thinking? And then follow up with going to resell everything a year later and being disappointed at how much money that you have the potential to get back. I've watched that happen so many dozens of times over 10 years that I just want to avoid that for you. And finally, I want you to keep front of mind, or maybe not front of mind, but like side of mind, that over the course of time, your tastes and your style and your preferences and your life is going to change, and your use of whatever bag that you buy today may become less useful and less desirable over time. It's totally normal. It happens over the course of one's life, and it's just something to keep in mind when the first thing that you want to go out and buy is like an orange sequin clutch with feathers. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, like, everyone who buys clutches sells their clutches. I would recommend not buying clutches, honestly. But in all seriousness, if you are considering buying your first bag, just remember that this could be the beginning of a long and illustrious journey of creating an elaborate wardrobe, an elaborate collection of handbags, rival that of your favorite celebrity, or you may just be content with having the one. Honestly, you may find out that luxury isn't for you, and all three of those reactions are completely okay as long as they're done responsibly. But just take it slow, and remember that your life preferences and tastes are going to change over time. So I hope this video was useful to you guys. If you do want to see that particular selection of what bags I think make for a good bag that are currently out now, or what I would recommend, I would say check out the video that I did a couple of years ago. With a couple of exceptions, I feel like that advice still stands, but do check that out and let me know what you guys think and if you would like an update. If you are new to the luxury world, welcome. I'm sorry that it's been such a shit show here on social media for the past couple of months. And yeah, definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions about any of my experiences or perspectives or insights that I can give you from my time working in the industry, then I'm happy to delve further into any of those. With that, I'm gonna leave it here. I'll leave my first designer bag video here on screen that you should definitely check out, as well as a couple of others here on screen. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.